8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Rabbi Yossi Hecht is in the studio. You know Rabbi Hecht. He's been here before. He's the rabbi of the Chabad Lubavitch Jewish Center of Marion County, and he educates us about the things that we thought we knew, but we don't really know all that much, or maybe some of you do. I guess I'm only speaking for myself when I say that. The Jewish Shavuot celebration, I'm going to have him correct the pronunciation if I got it wrong. It's a celebration of the 324th anniversary of the great event at Sinai, which I think is when Moses got the Ten Commandments, and the celebration is happening next Wednesday, May 15th at 5:30 at the Ocala Hilton Hotel here in Ocala, and I think we're invited to go, and I just have a hunch. I bet you there's some food involved somewhere in there. Let me turn around to make sure everything's turned on. Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, Larry, and thanks for having me as usual.
Am I right? You actually have down to the year how long it's been since Moses got the Ten Commandments?
Yeah, well, that's right, because it's we know based on when the world was created and how many years it was since the creation of the world when the Ten Commandments were given, and we know that now we're in 5,773 years since the creation of the world, so you minus that and you have your number, your magical number.
Wow, and I suppose that's been the case for as long as I've been alive and generations before me. There's always been a number that was an exact number.
Yeah, because biblically, if you look in the biblical sources, you'll see that many of the years are actually clarified as to when certain things took place. And it's just a matter of figuring that out based on the counting of when things took place, and you figure it out.
I wonder why in the Christian religion, the Christian Catholic and all of us, since the Old Testament is clearly the same thing that you are referring to, I wonder why we're not taught that. I wonder why we don't have a number. Or did I just miss that class? Maybe we do have that.
Well, the number you count is 2000, which would be now 2013, and you basically count from BCE or CE, right? Before the Christ era, before the Common Era, and then CE, which would be either the Christ era or the Common Era, and but the Jewish people count from the beginning of creation.
Right. But still, I mean, the number would be the same, and I'm just wondering why we never taught that. I'm just speculating as to why that was left out of the lessons, because that would have been cool. Wow, we know the exact number. I mean, obviously, our Jewish friends know that number over in the synagogues.
Yeah, well, maybe we should. Maybe we should change it together. Everyone in the world should count it this way.
Okay, so well, no, but I mean, it's the same. It would be the same event,
right?
Because we recognize Moses on the mountain, but I don't know that I was ever told the year. 3,324th anniversary. That's kind of cool. Do we know where Mount Sinai is? Is that a secret?
There are some who claim that they have seen it and they know where it is, based on the geographical area which the Torah describes. It could be that we know where it is. Some people have claimed they've been there and they've actually brought back stones. Do we know for a fact? It's hard to say, but geographically we could figure it out.
Okay, but is there a Mount Sinai? Is there a mountain named Mount Sinai that may or may not be the correct one?
Well, yeah, today they refer to a mountain as Mount Sinai as being the original Mount Sinai.
But we don't know.
And, of course, not talking about the hospital. but
which is where I was born, by the way.
Oh, me too.
I think many people were different Mount Sinai.
Yeah, right.
That's where my father's a doctor, actually.
Will you be reading the Ten Commandments in Hebrew?
Yeah, so we read the Ten Commandments out of a Torah scroll in Hebrew. And as it was written originally, and but we'll also have some translations and some insights as to the meaning of the Ten Commandments. And of course, the Ten Commandments are very meaningful for all people and for all religions, and it teaches us of the basic guides and morals for life. And it's a very important time to study these things.
I just realized that the card you handed me that's a picture of your son.
That's my son.
Okay.
With the long hair.
With the long hair. So, excuse me, but I thought it was a little girl. But he gets that all the time, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And so there's a Jewish tradition to cut his hair.
There's a Jewish tradition to cut the child's hair at 3 years old. Just as we know there's a biblical law that a tree, we don't take its fruit for the first 3 years because we let it nourish it. We nourish it and let it grow for the first 3 years, and only once it has reached that level that we begin enjoying its fruit. The same thing, there's an old Jewish custom that we also don't cut the child's hair until he turns 3, which at that point we cut it off, and then we begin teaching him about some of the Jewish laws and customs as well.
You cut the foreskin when they're really young, but you cut the hair 3 years later?
Hair is less painful.
I would say. I would say it's less painful.
Do little girls go through that ceremony also at the age of 3?
The little girls, being that they always have long hair, so it wouldn't really work as a monumental concept. So no, it's not done with girls.
Okay, so I thought maybe you cut it to shoulder length or something on the little girls.
No, it's done. It's done with boys.
Did I pronounce it right? Shavuot.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
And that means weeks, and because we've been counting now 7 weeks since the holiday of Passover.
Okay.
And every day, 7 weeks, 7 days, 49 days, we've been counting until this holiday, and it will always fall out exactly 50 days after the holiday of Passover. And it's the holiday when we celebrate the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, as you mentioned. And you were talking with your previous caller about the idea that there are sometimes godly revelations that we not necessarily recognize. And in the Jewish faith, we believe that God revealed himself to all people and to all mankind during this time at the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, and he taught he revealed his divine essence to the world, and basically in a way that that human beings can connect it in a certain sense. And though it may be 3,500 years later until we can actually, on our sense and on our level, be able to connect to that, but in essence, what happened was God was giving us his divine wisdom in a way that even in a physical sense we can connect to that in our physical world, and that's in essence what took place at Mount Sinai. And therefore a lot of the commandments biblically are within the physical world, physical things, and as was mentioned, that today we can also see godliness, so to say, in the physical world. Today we know that a grain of salt or a grain of sand or our human body is made up not just of arms and legs, but billions and billions of subatomic particles.
Isn't that amazing?
And we know that every little tiny bit is made up of billions of capabilities.
That's amazing.
And this is what God revealed himself in Mount Sinai and said, I'm going to reveal myself, and over the next 3,000 years you guys are going to have to go and see what I just revealed to you at Mount Sinai.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I've often, nowadays because of computers, we are so often comparing our brains to computers. And I was telling Robin the other day, I bet you there's more memory in one cell of a living creature, whether it's human or not, than in the biggest, most powerful computer we have. There's probably more information in that. In other words, because, obviously if you can clone something from one cell, that means the information was in it.
Right.
Isn't that, those who argue that there is not even a God, let alone intelligent design, that's the one thing. How do you answer that question? You know?
And today we also know you can talk to someone at the other end of the world, but without anything, with just a small little device, and yet we know that there's radio waves, but you may not see them physically, but you know that they're there. And that's kind of the same idea when it comes to godliness and the divine intervention in the world, that we see it if we open up our eyes and we tap into it.
Yeah.
You have different scrolls for the different holidays that you celebrate. Where are they kept when they're not being read or being used? Is there a special container they slide into, a special area in the temple you keep them in?
Yeah, every single synagogue or temple that you walk into, you'll see there's a big, beautiful designed box in the front of the room, and that is called an ark. And in that ark is where the Torah scrolls are kept. Some synagogues may have 1, some may have 10, some may have 50, depending on how big it is. We only have 1. But hopefully we'll be getting some more over time.
Getting back to the conversation that we were having before and interjecting it with you as a religious leader, when somebody says, as the guest was sort of saying, that whenever we have a thought, an idea, that it really isn't ours, it comes from God. And I was trying to use Billy Joel as an example because Billy Joel, the songwriter, said, I don't know that I write these, I think they come from God, and I was trying to have fun with it. But on a more serious thought, I don't think that all thoughts come from God. For example, the thought to blow up people at the Boston Marathon, I don't think that came from God.
Yeah, well, what you're talking is a philosophical idea, and one very important belief is that there is one thing that God gives over to human beings, over any other creature, over any other animals, and that is that we have free choice. And human beings, as far as we may be destined as to where we'll live in the world, whether we'll be rich or poor, that may all be destined by God, but what we do and how we choose to make use of it, that God gives free choice, and that God does not intervene in the human being.
It may or may not be His will, in other words, right?
Right. He tells us, this is how I want you to act. He gives us the Bible and says, this is the way you should act.
That's right.
And now it's up to you as to what you do.
Yeah.
And human beings are the only ones who have such free choice. That's why if you look at the beginning of creation, we see that Adam, who was the first man, was created the last of all the creatures, right? Adam was created on the sixth day, which was the last of everything else that was created in the world. And our sages explain that had Adam be created first, there's a certain message of the fact that he was created last, saying that either you're created as, a king, so to say, who comes last to the table while everyone is sitting there and everyone is prepared for him, or we say, if you don't act properly, you should know that even that tiny mosquito that goes and bites you was created before you, and why are you any better?
I like that.
By the way, do you know that whole idea that the Bible teaches that man was created last is actually in agreement with what the Darwinists believe?
Yeah,
in other words, they believe
true. in a certain sense, yes.
So, we agree on at least. There's an agreement starting point right there.
We always agree on something.
Yeah. Like 7 days. That's was my first observation. We all agree that there's 7 days in a week, right?
You have wonderful food that you're going to be preparing also during the celebration.
Yeah, you went where I wanted to go. The food.
Yeah, there is a Jewish custom on this holiday after we read the Ten Commandments to eat dairy foods specifically. That's why you have on there, you see there'll be cheesecake and...
See, I love these Jewish customs. They always have food.
Always with food. Except for the times when it's about what we don't eat, but it's always about something with food.
Yeah, right.
And when all of this food is prepared, will it be served buffet style, or will it be sit down?
This will be a buffet. So we're first going to read the Ten Commandments, and then we'll open up the buffet. And there's always a fight over the eggplant parmesan.
Oh, okay. Is that your favorite?
Well, that's what many people's favorites I have.
That's why there's a fight. What is Yizkor? What is that?
Yizkor is a memorial service which we hold every single holiday during the holidays. And this is a time when anybody who feels that they'd like to remember a loved one who had passed somewhere along the line, may it be a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, they could come along and during within synagogue, after we read the Torah as we do every holiday, we then allow them a few moments for a silent prayer to remember those who have perished.
This will be the day after?
Yeah, that's going to be the next day when we'll have official holiday services, not just the reading of the Ten Commandments, but full services, and that's going to be on the 16th at around 11.
All right.
Here in Ocala or in the village?
Here in Ocala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll make sure we mention all that again at the end. We're doing a video this week. That's what I just turned on. I'm going to get another shot of you. But anyway, I want to ask you a question. If you can help me understand something, and I'm going to now reveal my ignorance and or maybe I learned it and forgot it. But anyway, when Moses came down from the mountain with the first 2 set of tablets, he saw the golden calf, got mad, and he smashed the tablets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Is that the story?
Okay, yes.
Did he go back and say to God, I broke them? I mean, can you make some more? I mean, how did we get the actual set if he broke them?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The way it happened was that Moses was 40 days on the mountain, and the Jewish people had miscalculated and thought that Moses was supposed to come a day before, and they said if he hasn't come the day he said he will, well, he's never coming back down from that mountain. And so they went ahead and they erected a golden calf, an idol, and then when Moses came down and saw them worshiping that idol, so he destroyed the 10 tablets. And our sages explain it as being, for example, if you have a man who is engaged to a woman, and they have that engagement ring, and the husband has to leave town for some time before the marriage, and then the husband was to come back after some time and find that his and the engagement ring he leaves with a caretaker of his wife, and or his future wife, and he plans on giving that ring to her when he returns back, and then he finds that she is with another man.
Oh.
So what does the caretaker do? He destroys that ring and says that it's not for this point, and by that he actually saves the marriage, because he says that they can still have another chance. And that essentially what Moses did, being the leader of the Jewish people. He destroyed, so to say, that ring, which was the 10 tablets between God and the Jewish people, and said that now they cannot accept it yet in this way, and then they had to go through a process where a repentance process, and God forgave them, and it wasn't until another 40 days later, which happens to be Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when God brought down the second tablets. And Moses brought down the second tablets.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, I didn't know my question had such a good answer.
That's a great answer.
Wow,
question was always better, right?
For me, it's all about questions. Yeah.
Well, that's why you're the talk show.
That's right. That's right. In order to be a host, you just need to know nothing and ask everything. All right, so we're all invited to it, and it sounds like there's food, of course, but also lessons. So do you have an opportunity, like let's say somebody says, you know what, I'm not Jewish, I want to go to this thing, or maybe I am Jewish, but I've never really been religious, and this is really my heritage, I really should get reconnected. But I have questions. Is that a good time for questions, or is this more of a festival?
Oh, you're welcome to come and bring all your questions. And I am of the belief that if someone is Jewish, even if he's not religious, he still has his Jewish soul within him, and that it doesn't change the fact. It's just a matter of studying a little bit more and becoming a little bit more knowledgeable of your heritage, and that's what we're there to teach them.
I've known a number of Jewish people, actually, who said, I'm Jewish, but I'm not that religious. And that's like saying I'm Christian, but I'm not, you know what I mean? It's almost like, well, why does the label even attach? And obviously, being Jewish is about culture in addition to being about religion, right?
Right, and what happens is that in our society, you mentioned the word labels, and that's exactly what happens in our society. Everybody is labeled based on what they do, and not based on who you are. And we try to say that that's not true, that you can be something, not necessarily do you have to do everything that it says, but you can be someone without necessarily doing something, although of course there are commandments that we ask you to do, but that doesn't change your essence.
Right. Well, that's but that's what happens to some retired people. They leave the thing that they've done for 20, 30, 40 years, and all of a sudden they feel like they're not a person anymore. They feel empty. And that lesson that you just taught right there is the way to get around that feeling of a retired person feeling like useless, you know?
Right, and it's important that people shouldn't look at things in that way.
You're a wise man. When did you decide to become a rabbi? At what age?
At what age?
Did I ask you this once before? Maybe.
It's hard to say. I kind of grew up in this type of environment, and I felt that it's always something that I wanted to do.
But your dad's a doctor.
My dad is a doctor, and he actually always encouraged it. All of his children pretty much are rabbis all over the world. Mm-hmm. So
how many children does he have?
I'm from a family of 13.
13?
Yep, 13.
Oh.
Wow.
And right now,
are you the youngest?
10 of them are living in different places in the world, conducting communal services.
All rabbis?
All rabbis, yes.
All boys? All sons? No. Oh, you have a female rabbi?
Some female. Well, they work with their husbands together.
Mm-hmm.
I have sister in France. I have sisters in California.
Wow.
In Chicago, in Massachusetts, of course in Florida as well.
Do they know you do
amazing.
the radio show here, and are they watching on the video thing?
They do, and then my wife will go and post it on Facebook, and they can all see.
Oh, nice.
And now, and can we talk a little bit about the haircutting thing?
Yeah,
Or is
I'd love to
is
talk
that too
about it.
personal? Is that too personal?
No, it's a great event, and it's a beautiful event. It's very exciting, and it's a very festive time. We're going to have many things for the children as well. If you want to bring your children, we'll have bounce house and snow cones and cotton candy and all the good stuff. We'll have jugglers, and it's basically a time when we try and begin the education process for our child. And we say that now we're taking the first step into turning you slowly into a man. Even at 3 years old, we begin to teach him this, and we begin to show him some of the Jewish commandments, the mitzvot, some of the Jewish commandments and traditions, and we begin reciting with him the Shema prayer, which is the most sacred Jewish prayer, and slowly but surely, this is where his education process begins.
Wow. And we're going. Rob and I are going to go not cut his hair, but we're going to videotape cutting the hair, right?
That would be wonderful if you guys can do
Is
that.
there a
We would
name
love
of
a
the
video.
guy who does the hair cutting, like with the bris? There's a rabbi. Does the rabbi have a name when he does that? Not a name, but I mean, is there a different title associated with that?
No, there's no official rabbi that does hair cutting. We open it up to all those who would like to take a snip.
Oh.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
You don't have to.
I'll
but
take
if you
video.
like.
I'll take video. I wouldn't want him to say, you gave me a mohawk here.
You'll be the video man, and the rest will be the barbers.
All right.
Do we bring a gift? Is that what this time is
A lot
about?
of
Also to
people-
bring a gift for the child?
Yeah, many people like to bring gifts.
What's he want? What's he like?
He loves Thomas.
The
trains. He loves Thomas trains.
Oh, nice.
He likes whatever boys like: fire trucks and police cars and anything else that boys like. Balls.
Do you get on the floor with him and play fire trucks? You go, "Ah." I can picture you on the floor.
That's part of the job of a father. You have to.
I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit. You're our teacher, but you're also our friend. All right, so we're gonna do that. But let's see. The first, we want to make sure that this coming Wednesday, everybody's invited to the Hilton for the Shavuot.
Shavuot, yes.
Shavuot, okay. And if you want to know more, I guess you would call the synagogue, right?
Yeah.
And what's the phone number?
291-2218.
All right.
And it's going to be at 5:30 at the Hilton. And you also mentioned there will be holiday services at 10 o'clock on Thursday, as well as Yisker, the memorial service, at about 11 on Thursday. And then the hair cutting ceremony will be at 1 on the 19th, at Sunday the 19th at 1 o'clock. That will be at the Chabad Jewish Center.
Right. I guess I have one more question. When somebody, a boy, goes through a bar mitzvah, the word mazel tov is used a lot, right?
Yeah.
A, what does it mean? And B, do you use it in this event? Did you use it in other things?
Yeah, we say it by every event. Officially, it's translated to mean good luck. Mazel tov means good luck. I mean, which is literally what it means. Many people just mean it translated as being congratulations. But essentially, the deeper meaning of what Mazel Tov means is that each one of us have our Mazel, which means our luck, which guides us and gives us inspiration in this world. And we hope that by every happy occasion, that it should be a time that we should continue to have this good luck guiding us, this good spiritual guidance that's helping us grow, that it should continue to be in a positive way. And therefore, literally what it means, good luck, if someone gets married and you go and tell them good luck, so what does that mean, This
is a bigger meaning.
Or someone has a circumcision and you tell them good luck, so
yeah,
what
good
does that
luck.
mean? But,
good luck with that one.
But in essence, what it means is that we're saying that your higher spiritual luck or guidance should be in a positive way, in a good way.
Thank you so much for coming in, as you always do.
You can wish my son Mazel Tov as well.
Mazel Tov, everybody. Mazel Tov. What is a Mazel Tov cocktail? What is that? Oh, that's something different. Molotov cocktail. Oh, sorry, I'm mixing up words here.
We'll have to make you a special Mazel Tov cocktail.
Rabbi Yossi Hecht, thank you for coming in. The phone number over at the Chabad Lubavitch Jewish Center is
291-2218.
Okay. Always good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a little break, and we'll have fun with Joe in about 12 minutes. We'll be right back.
In specialty crop news from the Southeast AgNet, the National Ag Statistics Service has released their May floriculture report, revealing that Florida's 2012 floriculture value of sales were down 2%. However, Florida remains the second largest producer of floriculture crops behind California, grossing a wholesale value of sales for 2012 at $812 million, down $23.4 million or 3% from 2011. Florida growers produce 20% of the nation's nearly $4 billion wholesale value of sales, as Florida continues to dominate in foliage sales, representing 72% of the nation's foliage sales at $464 million, up 5% from the previous year. This increase in foliage sales is in line with that of the nation's, which had $642 million in sales and was up 5%. Florida's value of propagated material totaled $77.4 million, 21% of the nation's $366 million total. Florida represents 81% of the nation's sales of cut cultivated greens at $57.8 million, up $3.1 million or 6% from last year. However, the number of producers in Florida with sales of $100,000 or more decreased from 702 in 2011 to 634 in 2012, a pretty significant 10% reduction. The area used for production also saw a shift, with Florida floriculture acreage in the open and uncovered decreasing from 2011, but shade and temporary cover square footage in the state increasing.
I'm Juan Garcia, Administrator of USDA's Farm Service Agency. If you believe the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, improperly denied you farm loan benefits between 1981 and 2000 because you were Hispanic or female, you may be eligible to apply for compensation. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-508-4429 or visit www.farmerclaims.gov. The claims period closes May 1st, 2013.
This has been a message from the United States Department of Agriculture.
Julie McPeak with Southeast AgNet.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
It's been 500 years since Spanish explorers first set foot on Florida's shores, naming our beautiful state Florida because of the many varieties of colorful flowers the Spaniards could see. I want to tell you another piece of history that is actually not his story, but her story. It's about all of the moms in your life. You and I wouldn't have a history if it wasn't for her story. And with Mother's Day this Sunday, you'll be happy to know that Kenny's Place Nursery has knockout roses on sale. Get Mom a 1-gallon size for just $8 and a 3-gallon size for just $15. Celebrate Mother's Day and her story with the same thing that gave Florida her name, flowers. Kenny's Place Nursery is located at 7677 Southeast 41st Court in Ocala. Give them a call at 867-1213. Kenny's Place Nursery, where the